So college basketball season is upon us. We're here to break down the women's poll in the Big South Conference. I'm Alan York, joined alongside Paul Carmody, the head of athletics communications for Liberty Flames women's basketball. And you look at the preseason poll, Paul, Liberty number one, preseason, the 17th time out of the last 18 years. We talked to Coach Green earlier. It's great to have a target on your back, but you still have to go out and play basketball games.
Yeah, it's a 20-game conference season. As we saw last year, the Lady Flames didn't win the regular season or tournament titles and lost a number of conference games. Teams like Campbell and UNC Asheville and PC got the better of the Lady Flames last year, so it's a competitive league and definitely a lot yet to be determined.
We're used to seeing this Liberty team in the NCAA tournament year after year, and 2 out of the last 4 years they haven't been there. So how much hungry do you think it makes a winning program like that when you don't go, and it's kind of a shock to your system when you're not playing in the postseason?
Yeah, I've been around the team the last couple times they haven't gone to the tournament, and it really does add a little extra chip on your shoulder the next year. I know my first year here, the 06-07 season, went 19-12. Like last year, didn't win the regular season or the tournament title, but then the next year came out, went 28-4, and had one of the best seasons we ever had. I got 12 seed in the tournament. So I expect this year's team, if they needed any extra motivation, definitely got it from last year.
Ashley Reininger, preseason pick, first team, and that's a pretty good player to start your nucleus around.
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, last year at this time, we thought that Ashley could be a pretty good player, but she wasn't really proven. She played behind a couple of veteran players her freshman year, didn't get a lot of playing time, but once she got the playing time and the opportunity last year, she had a really good year, got first team all-conference, double-double machine, about 16 double-doubles, and yeah, that's definitely Coach Green likes to rebound, and that's what better player to build your team around than a strong rebounder.
Speaking of the head coach of the Flames, Carey Green gives us his thoughts on the season coming up.
It's great to have maybe your peers have confidence in your team, but you got to go out and earn everything. And from last year's experience, we had 4 games that went in overtime. That means we're not a dominating team in the conference. In fact, we lose 3 out of those 4. So it's going to be a tight race. And if you really looked at the voting, 1 vote either for first, second, or third would change who's going to be preseason picked. And it's going to be a very exciting, a tight race throughout the whole season.
A couple other teams, Paul, vying for that top spot. High Point, preseason number 2, and Winthrop at number 3. The Eagles, the defending champion, and I know those 2 teams are chomping at the bit to kind of climb to the upper echelon of the Big South.
Yeah, I mean, High Point's always been a rival. They beat us both times in the regular season last year and won the regular season title before they got knocked off in the championship game. They have basically their whole team back, led by the preseason player of the year, Kayla Keys. Stacey Robertson came back for her 5th year, which originally she wasn't going to, but she decided to, at the last minute, to change her mind and come back and play her 5th year. So High Point's definitely going to be a team that they'll have the fuel in their fire too, because they won that regular season title last year, had the number 1 seed, but then couldn't go to the big dance. So I think they'll want to take that next step and get there this year. There's
things all players work on in the offseason, and for High Point, it was defense.
We talk a lot about, we finished at the top of the league in scoring, so we know we can score. But we couldn't defend a soul, and so that's been sort of the emphasis all preseason. What do we do well in trying to find an identity there? Is it going to be a zone defense? I don't know. Is it going to be man? I don't know. It gets down to being gritty and tough and out-toughing teams. But a lot of our games came down to the wire last year simply because we couldn't defend. So they've taken it to heart. They're finally listening, and that's all we've been emphasizing all preseason.
And if we focus in now on Winthrop, the defending champion, Kevin Cook has a good nucleus coming back, and I know the prospects are really high for that team down at Rock Hill.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it always hurts when you lose a player like DeQuisha McClanahan. She was player of the year, all-time leading scorer in Big South history, but the cupboard is certainly not there. They have the rest of their starters are back. They get Leah Kilpatrick back, who missed last year due to injury, and they definitely have a good program built down there. Coach Cook's doing a great job, and they'll be a team to be reckoned with all year long.
We caught up with Kevin Cook, the head coach of the Winthrop women's basketball team, and he gives us his thoughts on any residual effects going to the championship and winning it in the Big South had for his program.
Well, definitely it was an exciting time for our staff and players, and an enjoyable 3-game run for us, and it helped in recruiting, and definitely, and we respect all 3 programs that we were fortunate to defeat last year. And Liberty, the pre-conference favorite, 17 of the last 18 years, incredible. And Coach Green, incredible guy, incredible program. And so we're looking forward to getting after it again this season.
So now, Paul, as we wrap things up here in Charlotte, it's going to be a very competitive women's basketball season. I know, talking to the coaches around Charlotte this week, they're all excited to go. What are you looking most forward to about this basketball season?
It definitely is. It's been the theme of the day, both in the men's and women's basketball sides, of how deep this conference is. There's every night you got to bring your A game, or you might suffer a defeat. So I think it's going to be a lot of entertaining, competitive games. As Coach Green's been talking about, last year he played 4 overtime games in the conference. We could see 4 more this year. There's a lot of teams which are evenly matched and have a lot of talented upper-class players. It's going to be some good basketball this year.
That's a preview of the women's basketball season coming up here in the Big South. For Paul Carmody, I'm Alan York for the Liberty Flames Sports Network.